affiliate marketing, we're digital marketers, just a whole bunch of fun stuff here that we're working on. And we're really working towards getting free from the 9 to 5 and making sure that we can have more time to serve you, because that's what we're here for. And we got Katie in the house. Look at that. Yes, thank you. I think intros got to be fun, right? You got to be able to, get grooving and get into it and get pumped up. And so thank you for being here with me, by the way. And so today I've got a question. Like, have you ever felt that you were just not on the right path? Like, just something didn't make sense, right? Like something just didn't really jive with you, and you weren't really having the time of your life. You weren't passionate. Your values weren't being fulfilled. Your passion, your purpose wasn't being fulfilled. Well, you know what that's called barking up the wrong tree or aiming at the wrong mountain. When you're a mountain climber, you want to go to a mountain to go climb, right? You wanted to go to Mount Everest, but you ended up going to Yosemite in California, right? You're at the wrong mountain. But so we're going to talk about that today. And what does that mean, right? Like, what does it mean to be aiming for the wrong mountain, or, questioning yourself, like, am I going to the right place? Well, everywhere around us, like, there's always people rushing, right? People are trying to make things work for them. They're spending time on social media. They're spending time with their mentors and coaches. They're attending seminars. They're trying to find what they can fit into. And they're trying to figure out what it is that they can do, what it is that resonates with them. And they're just bouncing around. And some people call it shiny object syndrome. Some people call it pivoting. Some people call it, finding yourself. But what I call it is trying to fit in. Okay. And we always are trying to find these things that, we fit into, and we're doing it to wait for that spark to happen. We're like, oh, like that wasn't the spark. And then, oh, that didn't fulfill me the way I wanted it to. Stop trying to fit in. Okay. Stop trying to do what other people are doing. Think about what it is that you want, right? Think about what it is that you have. What is your values, right? What are your values? What are your passions? What do you feel like your purpose in life is? And then find something that fits that, right? Find something that really resonates with you in that aspect, right? So like a couple ways, let's step back and go back to like, how do you know you're, aiming at the wrong mountain, right? How do you know you're trying to climb the wrong mountain? Well, think of it this way. Are you pushing past other people in line, getting to the front so that way you can be up there and say, I'm first, I did it? Or are you bringing other people with you? Are you being the wake, right? Are you being the one that like brings all that stuff, all the success with you? Or are you just the one pushing your way to the front? Okay. Or like, for example, are you trying to accomplish something that is outside of what you normally would do in your own personality, right? Like Kay said, you got to find your groove, right? Just like that intro, you got to find your groove and be able to head bob a little bit. But the thing is like, are you happy? Are you just trudging along because you're trying to be like the Joneses? You're trying to, keep up with the Joneses, or are you actually doing something you're passionate about? Like look at life choices. Okay. We talk about things like that, when you go to choose a partner, what do? Right. You don't jump in and be like, all right, let's get married. You start asking questions. What do you do? What do you like? Where do you like to go? What do you like to be? I mean, yes, there are some times that people just go, all right, let's get married. Or in some cultures, there's arranged marriages, but I'm not here to say that those are bad. I'm just saying that can happen. But most people, they ask those questions. They think about it. They're like, do you align with my values? Does our purpose align? Are we going in the same direction? Is there stuff here that we can get behind and we can work together with? Same thing when you're starting a family, right? Are you being affected by someone who's negative and doesn't want kids, but yet you want kids? Or vice versa. Maybe you don't want kids and somebody else really wants kids. Well, think about that in business, okay? Is your business opportunity wanting you to start a family, but then you don't? Are they wanting you to build a team, but you don't want to recruit? Are they wanting you to go do Facebook ads, but you want to do organic? Like, think about those things. And that's where you could maybe be climbing the wrong mountain. You could be aiming at the wrong mountain, aiming at the wrong peak. And so what can we do to really turn that around, right? And you can start thinking of things of like looking at the principles and the values that you live by. I know for me, some of my values are integrity and honor and courage. Those are values that I hold near and dear to my heart. So when I look at a potential business opportunity, or I'm looking at some sort of partnership or doing something new, I think to myself, is this going to fulfill my purpose and my passion? And is this going to keep me within my values? Do I have to stretch outside of my values and leave some of my personality behind to make this thing work? Well, it's possible, but is that really what I want to do? Do I have a choice? Now, in some instances with people who, especially with the pandemic right now, some people need jobs and some people had to go do things that they normally wouldn't do. There are certain circumstances where that could be okay. And so one of the things that, we want to make sure we're striving for is if you're trying to aim at the right mountain, is take a step back and look at it from a holistic view and really understand what is it that you're looking for, and does that opportunity or does that business have those values? Does that program, does that product have those values? Can you actually be passionate about promoting something that potentially is going to cause you to kind of have your face on that product, right? For most people in the online marketing world, you are branding yourself. Are you comfortable with your brand being affiliated with that brand? It's pretty profound, but also a very necessary question to make sure that you're doing things the most appropriate way possible. So what can happen, or let's talk about what is happening in the world right now, right? We've got dysfunctional families, jobs we hate. We're fighting with our partners. We're causing issues with our friends. All of these things that are happening, we've had a lot go on this year, and there are a lot of reasons why those things can happen. But the true reason why those things are happening is because there's differences that haven't been reconciled. And those differences have not been made aware, or they're aware and they haven't been dealt with. And it's simply because we're not doing things according to our values. We're trying to live out somebody else's dreams. We're trying to live out somebody else's goals. We're trying to make somebody else do this thing. And don't take this as that we shouldn't help others, right? Because that's a big purpose of mine. That's a passion of mine, is helping others. That's why I do this every week like clockwork, right? I come on here 7:30 Central Time every Wednesday. If I skip a Wednesday, it's for a very good reason. But generally every Wednesday, I'm here at 7:30 p.m. Central Time for you guys. I'm here to help you move forward in your business. I'm here to bring tips and tricks, and I'm here to show you what I'm working on and show you my journey. And you get to see when I redo some decoration in my area. I'm out here for you, but that doesn't mean that I'm doing this, entirely selflessly, where I'm saying, well, I don't care what it means to me. I'm doing this for you because it's the right thing to do. If it were to go against my values, if there was a reason why going live on Facebook was against my values and against my dreams and my goals, I wouldn't do it. That's just as simple as that. Now, that's different from who Josh was, 3-4 years ago. Josh 3-4 years ago, before I started getting into this kind of stuff, or having these ideas of being growth mindset and being, high performance focused and all this stuff, I never would have thought like that. I'd have been like, yeah, I'll do whatever you need to do because, I need to make money. But as I started to learn what I'm truly passionate about, I changed a lot of those things. And that's what you need to do as well. Now, maybe you're watching this and you think, well, yeah, I want a great path. I've got a great company. I've got a great team. I've got great stuff going on. The compensation plan's awesome. Great. That's awesome. So where else in your life can you identify places that might be holding you back? Where else in your life can you identify situations that aren't living up to your values and your dreams and your goals? Because there's probably at least one. I know for me, there's some of them. One of them is my job. I've lost the passion in my job to be able to really put my best foot forward. Now, does that mean that I am slacking? No, absolutely not. I still put in the work because I've committed myself to doing that. And until my digital marketing takes over and replaces my income, I have a job to do. I still get to help people, but it's getting to a point where it's starting to weigh on me. It's because it's not helping me achieve my goals. I'm stuck there. And until I can replace that income, I'm going to continue to be stuck there. So what am I doing? I'm working on going towards the right mountain. I'm climbing another mountain to get myself off of the one that I'm already on. So here's a couple things you can do, right? Talk to a mentor, talk to a coach, talk to somebody who you trust, who you believe in. Talk to somebody who, maybe it's just a friend, or maybe it's a family member, or maybe it's somebody who you really look up to, that you appreciate their opinion, and get a true reflection of, true feedback of what you're doing and what they feel like is your values. Like, is what you're doing aligning with your values? If it's not, hopefully they'll give you honest feedback. If not, go to the next person. And honestly, if, I don't know you well enough, but we could have a conversation too. And I could ask you what your values are, and we could talk about what you're doing. And I'd totally be open to, trying to give you some insight and help you out with that. I've gotten a lot of help with mindset and clarity and things like that in the last few months. So I'm just trying to work on paying that forward myself. But so you can do that. Another thing you can do is reflect on what you're working on and start looking at the things that these opportunities or these situations in your life are having. Look at what the impact it's having on your life and try to figure out, why is that so impactful for you? And what are the things that's causing you strain and causing you stress? And why is it doing that? Like, not just like, oh, it's stressful, so I should get rid of it. No, sometimes stressful is good. Sometimes stressful is how you get into your growth zone. Kind of like, when I was talking with Kyle, my buddy Kyle, we do our podcast every couple of weeks. We did that back on Sunday. So talking with him, we talked about that gauge, right? Where, when you're over on the low side, you're over on the comfort zone, right? You don't want to be in the comfort zone. So you push yourself into that middle area where you're in that growth zone. And then you have the stress zone. Okay. That stress zone is where most people are when they're aiming at the wrong mountain, when they're climbing the wrong mountain. That's really where the stress zone comes into play. You want to get yourself back into that sweet spot where you're right in the middle, right in that growth zone. And you can honestly, some days you're going to be closer to comfort zone, and some days you're going to be closer to the stress zone, but you want to be right in that sweet spot because that's where you're going to grow. So just because it's a little bit stressful, if you're not like completely at wit's end, that's okay. That's probably means that you're growing. You're a little out of your comfort zone. But if it's completely bogging you down, if whatever you're doing is literally making you hate yourself, a good example is when I used to work in the office, some people would sit in their car for 10, 15, 20 minutes before walking inside. Why? They didn't want to go into the office. They didn't want to go into their job. It was so demeaning to them. It was so bad that they hated going in there, and they had to work themselves up to actually go into the office. Now there's other people that would just hop out of their car and go in. I was more in the middle, right? I didn't want to work. I didn't want to be at the office. I don't want to sit behind a desk, but I did it because for the well-being of my family, which is part of my values, right? Family is a big value of mine. That was something that I had to do. So think about that. Like, how do you feel when you do these things? When you go to family events for people that you don't want to be around, how do you feel? When you go talk about this business opportunity, how do you feel? Reflect on what is in here, not what's here. Okay. This is going to lie to you. Okay. This right here is going to lie to you, and it's going to tell you that you just need to suck it up. Listen to what's in here. Listen to what this is telling you. Listen to what your heart tells you. And if your heart tells you that you're wrong and that you shouldn't be doing that, maybe it's time to start looking for another opportunity. Or maybe it's time to start putting some boundaries on some family. Or maybe it's time to get back into reading those books. There's so many things that this can apply to. And a lot of it is just because it hasn't come to fruition as to why that's causing you stress. And a lot of times the lack of something can cause you stress as well. So to recap, why are we sitting here, feeling like everything's not going our way? Why do you feel like you're being stepped on? Why do you feel like someone else is using you for their own personal gain? probably because you're aiming for the wrong mountain. You're trying to bark up the wrong tree. You're doing the wrong thing. Reflect a little bit, give yourself some grace, give yourself some time, give yourself the ability to learn about why these things are happening and why you feel that way. Have a conversation with somebody you trust and make a decision, right? And when it comes to making decisions, the biggest thing is you got to make the right decision for what's in it for you. And it's got to be an easy decision. And I know one of the biggest, easiest decisions for me was getting a hold of the free ebook that I have, which is called the Escape Plan. The Escape Plan has been something that has been a huge eye opener for me in terms of affiliate marketing, in terms of just kind of how everything has been going with my digital marketing career. I don't want to say career, my digital marketing journey. Career is such a dirty corporate word. We'll say journey. And one of the things that I've really come to understand is that understanding the psychology behind it, understanding why people do what they do, that's been a huge benefit. So if you want to check that out, it's free. I'm going to put it down below and you can click on that link, go to that. It'll take you right there. It is going to ask you for some information, obviously. So if you don't want to put in your information, that's okay. You don't have to have the book, but the book is free. It'll send you out right away. And, you can read through that and understand exactly what it means to be part of a community of people that are all about betterment of others and all about lifting each other up to make the world a better place. So that's all I've got for today. Get some clarity, make sure you're aiming at the right mountain, and we'll see you next week on my next live. See ya.